Hello. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about a couple of differences between these two eights. So closest to the camera is an under 23 crew that I was coaching for Henley Royal this year in 2025. On the far side is the GB Senior 8. So they were returning just as kind of newly crowned European champions. So probably had a pretty strong contention for what we would refer to them as being the fastest eight in the world at that time. So great opportunity for our younger athletes to be able to paddle side by side. And I think really one of the strengths of British rowing at the moment is in the eight. This is part of that reason. So of course the younger athletes are doing what the younger athletes would do and trying to push a little bit harder to stay ahead. So I'm just going to talk about a little bit of a few of the differences between the crews and why I think the GB Senior 8 is getting much more out of their boat. So the first one I'm going to discuss is that they hang for a lot longer, and by that I mean if we look at the difference, if we try and pause the under 23 crew just in that going into that second half of the drive, we're just going to see probably that little bit more of kind of like tugging with the arms, probably bringing the arms in a little bit earlier. See with a few people there's probably a little bit too much force with the inside arm as well. And what that then creates is probably just a very slight lack of connection through to the finish, and that's what I think causes the bow to dive just a little bit. So if you watch the bow, what you'll notice in the under 23 boat is that there's definitely more of a downward surge. So I think there's probably a little bit too much weight coming down into the boat. And sometimes, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there was tending to be a little bit of a double bounce. So I think you can see it on that stroke there. So the bow would kind of surge, come up, surge again, and then it would start to run. Whereas if we just compare that to the Senior rate on the far side, I think most times that we are most times we'd be able to pause it. If we just try that again, you can just see with these guys that even at that same point where the bodies are almost fully open, the shoulders are a little bit lower, there's just that little bit more force and a little bit more weight behind the handle, and I think as a result they get a much more direct and much cleaner surge off the finish, and I would say that they're more connected the last part of the drive as the handle is coming into the body, but they're doing that by not working quite so hard. So if we just look, kind of put our eyes and our attention to the crew on the far side, I think they just have that little bit more kind of poise around the finish. They, make loads of shape. I think that's kind of the hallmark of a Steve Trapmore coach crew who works with this eight. Coached the Paris Olympic gold medalists amongst many others. And I think that ability to just flow around the finish, I think they do a good job, a better job than the under 23 of just maintaining that acceleration on the boat. And if we just kind of compare how the two bows are running, so if we look at the under 23 8, it looks like it just slows a little bit. So if we look how the bow rises up just before the catch, so about here, there's almost just that slight stop at that moment. Whereas I think the Senior 8 in the background, if we watch the bow, they just have that little bit more looseness, a little bit more freedom and accuracy, and they are just picking the boat up and just basically catching it as it's running. And it's not to say that the under 23 8 is doing a bad job, and they've definitely got good liveliness to them, which is great. I think it's just that little bit more accuracy around the front, which is ultimately why, if we look at the body language, if we look at how they're hanging and pushing the boat, if you look to the Senior 8, it just looks like everything is just a little bit easier, a little bit freer. So really interesting comparison, and for me as the coach of the younger crew, it was absolutely fantastic to get to paddle next to one of the fastest eights in the world. Definitely learned a lot from observing this session. Obviously, as you can see here, and I have another clip where it's the same, that the under 23 crew are constantly a little bit ahead, but I should probably add, just for clarity, that in the last loop the Senior 8 actually started pushing a bit harder to show what they could really do and ended up kind of 3-4 lengths ahead by the end of the 2K loop. So don't want to do them a disservice by only showing you being down in this video. So yeah, let me know if you see any other differences between the boats. Be really interested to see what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to see my commentary on, or any other kind of my coaching experiences, because I would really like to start showing a little bit more kind of the behind the scenes of coaching on YouTube. So have a good one, and I will catch you guys soon.